Well, that game against Creamline and F2, everyone expected that 5-set, right? But they didn't really know who was gonna win. So from that game, we know that Creamline is a team that thrives on counterattack. So with F2, they were able to attack on their counterattack, which allowed them to make points. So that was the difference between that game.
Do you think there's really a Ateneo-LaSalle rivalry also in between the lines, Jamie? Like, did you feel it?
I should ask you.
There is.
Go. Yeah.
There is. Even just watching through the screen, you get flashbacks of, you know, when you were in college, the Ateneo-LaSalle rivalry. Like, it's there no matter what. Even if we're in the pros now, it's still there. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, seeing Michelle Gumabao score against F2
Against
still.
So
Yeah.
odd. I mean,
her team.
really.
Yeah.
So Michelle is technically in the Ateneo side
Yes.
now.
Yeah.
Playing against her former teammates.
I want to talk to you all of a sudden about your time in F2Z, but let's move on to the players that actually were there. Myla Pablo had a great performance again in general.
Yeah.
Has been having great performances, the top scorer right now in the PVL. What do you make of her performance so far and how she's fitting in with this F2 team?
Well, she scored 27 points against the Creamline Cool Smashers, and she's, you know, entering a team and system that's so unfamiliar and taking that risk of, you know, joining something new. I think it's doing justice for her team, and she's adding, you know, some sort of flair to F2, and it's working clearly from their last game against Creamline.
How about for the side of Creamline, Eliza Valdez is obviously missing now. Who do you think, you know, took over the crown again, trying to have that edge for like a 5-setter match?
Well, in that game, from what I noticed, you know, Gemma Galanza in the 5th set, she really performed, not only in the scoring department, but in the non-scoring. She's very effective in the back row, not only during her back row attacks, but digging as well in receiving, because they're going to tire her, so they're going to aim for her all the time.
Yeah, you know, Creamline now with 3-1, obviously their first loss here, and, you know, a lot of people would expect them to lose a lot of games, but then if there were any chinks in the armor that F2 did expose, what were they? And of course, what can Creamline do to kind of address that as they move forward?
Well, that game against F2, they did lose to Cherry Tigo, right, in the past game, so they were able to make Bawe, and it really shows their character development as a team.
And of course, when you look at this F2 team, they're gonna be hoping that this really wakes them all up. You covered that sweep that they had against, and what was the biggest difference in your mind between this game against Creamline and that game where they did get swept against Cherry?
Their body language was so different, their energy. When I covered their game against Cherry Tigo, they were a completely different team. People had asked me, is this game gonna go in 3-5 sets? And everyone said 5, but it ended up being 3 sets. So their body language and the hunger to win was there.
What do you think changed for F2? Because a lot of people thought that it was gonna end in 4 sets when they played Creamline. But what do you think pushed them farther, playing on the 5th set and then eventually winning the match?
I remember a specific rally during the game. It was 8-9 Creamline, and it was a break ball. So Aragalang had to set it over to Pablo, and a break ball is very hard to spike. I mean, I'm not a spiker, but just seeing that was difficult, and Pablo was able to spike it down the line and no one was there. So I think that was like a pivotal moment in that game where it's like, we've reached 5 sets against Creamline. We're all here in this moment, so let's just finish it and take it home.
All right, so I'm going to freestyle here a bit because you know,
no.
I'm
Here we go,
in
James.
between two volleyball players here, so I have to even ask Z questions here. Don't worry, it's a freestyle for her, not for you. Yeah, pero Z, you know, we take a look at this Creamline team, and a lot of people were wondering, okay, how are they going to function without Eliza Valdez? How are they going to keep the scoring numbers up and stay potent as they were with Eliza there? Is this a game wherein they look like, oh, this is a game that they did miss her in, or do you feel that you know there's still ways for them to kind of cope with Eliza Valdez and still push without her for a championship run?
I mean, overall, I think we don't feel like she's being missed because you know there's 4 or 5 MVPs playing inside for Creamline, but I guess some people would think maybe you know how Eliza, her role is the game closer.
Yes.
That's the thing. I think that role has yet to be embraced by somebody in Creamline right now. Because I remember a lot of people are always saying, clutch yan sila, ganyan, like ibigay mo. And she'll ask for it. She wants it. Like those last 5 points, she'll definitely ask Gia, like, give me the ball. Because I remember there was one interview, like, noong una kaming naglaro ni Gia, inaway ko talaga siya. Because she did not give me the ball, and I wanted that ball.
wants
So
it.
I think it's someone who would have that connection with Gia and who would be like hungry to get that last few balls and take those last few points.
Do you agree with that, Jamie, in terms of finding that closer here for Creamline?
Yes, I believe that every team needs that go-to spiker, right? So with the Creamline's lineup right now, there are a lot of choices actually for a go-to spiker. So it could be that Gia also doesn't know who to set. You know, it could be Tots, Gemma, Michelle Gumabov. So at least she has options there. It's just a matter of who to set and when to set her teammates.
And of course, with F2 getting that win, and again, there's this a team that, especially in All Filipino Conference, because Kalimao not there, Lindsay Stalzer not there for F2. A lot of people are wondering who's that closer, who's that killer here for F2. Myla Pablo was a person they brought in. Z, do you think that she's filling that role and she looks more comfortable right now here with F2?
I mean, yeah, from the first game that they played, it was already like, wow, Myla Pablo is home. Like, she's fitting in so well. Again, with what Jamie said earlier, like, unfamiliar territory, unfamiliar system. And, you know, she's playing, 27 points. It speaks for itself, Pablo.
Tomorrow's games will be Army versus Akari and PLDT against Cherry Tigo. Jamie, you take a look at Akari, not necessarily the start that they wanted to in the conference, and of course, you take a look at the Army. They're also a team trying to get in the groove of things. You take a look at that matchup. What's most important to you here?
Well, we see that both teams are at the bottom of the standing right now, so I think they need to add more attacks. Each team, we have Tobino in Army, we have Manabat in Akari, so it can't just be a one-man team. They do well in digging and receiving, but they need help in other aspects of attacking. Like, they need to activate the middle more. They need more. They need to do more, basically.
And of course, the second game will be PLDT against Cherry Tigo. Again, you had a lot of notes for today's show.
I'm prepared.
Oh, you're very prepared. So when you look at PLDT and Cherry Tigo, again, two teams who have been pretty good here this conference, to be quite honest. How excited should we be for it? And of course, what are you most excited for personally?
I know it's going to be a good matchup because Cherry Tigo is the team that everyone wants to beat right now. And PLDT, they're 1-1 right now. So they're still getting that groove and slowly gaining that momentum like they always do. They start kind of slow and then they kind of ease their way in. So I believe that's going to be a good matchup tomorrow.
Z, the team everyone wants to beat, Cherry Tigo. Agree ka ba dun? And you look at how these two teams are playing. How do you see it?
I mean, Cherry has been on a steady cruise right now. PLDT has been, they started a little bit off, but they're gaining momentum. And yeah, it's definitely a match that I'm going to be looking forward to watching.